She's a memo keeper of the Garden of Recollection, a mysterious and elegant soothsayer. With a warm smile, she patiently absorbs the words of others, entering their memories to seize the information she requires. Driven in her pursuit of unique memories, her motivations are nevertheless difficult to glean. Meet the star of today's Keeping Up with Star Rail, Black Swan! In today's episode, we've invited a special guest who claims to be privy to gossip from across the universe, Miss Sampo?
Hey everyone, I'm Sampo's good friend Sparkle.
Hello, security!
Hey, come on, I'm a huge Owlbert fan. It took me ages to get here. Don't kick me out already, please.
Hello, Owlbert fan.
Plus, I'm a huge Black Swan fan too. I know everything there is to know. With your super hosting and my super knowledge, this program's gonna rock.
Super hosting.
Hello? Hello? What do you need?
2 cappuccinos, thank you.
Get lost.
As a professional super host, it's my duty to give the fans what they want. So, Miss Sparkle, you've got yourself a deal. Black Swan is a wind-type character following the path of nihility. This mysterious and elegant soothsayer excels in harnessing the power of the remembrance to manipulate her enemies' destinies.
Whoa, amazing!
When using her basic attack, Black Swan deals wind damage to the target enemy based on her attack, with a chance to inflict the attack target with 1 stack of Arcana. Moreover, when Black Swan hits enemies suffering from wind, shear, bleed, burn, or shock, there's a separate chance of further inflicting 1 additional stack of Arcana on the target. At the start of each turn, each enemy target has a chance to be afflicted by a stack of Arcana for every instance of damage over time sustained. After unlocking a specific trace, if the target receives DOT during an attack from an ally, there's a chance for the target to be inflicted with 1 stack of Arcana, with a limit to the number of stacks per attack.
Mr. Owlbert, can you tell me what this Arcana is used for?
Brilliant question, Miss Sparkle. Arcana definitely has its uses. When afflicted by Arcana, enemy targets will receive wind damage over time that's equal to a percentage of Black Swan's attack power at the start of each turn. Each stack of Arcana slightly increases the damage multiplier, which is then reset to 1 stack. Also, at the beginning of an enemy's turn, when Arcana causes damage, Black Swan will trigger additional effects that are stackable based upon the number of Arcana stacks. For example, it inflicts wind damage over time to adjacent enemies equal to a certain percentage of Black Swan's attack and has a chance of inflicting 1 stack of Arcana. Plus, the damage over time inflicted this time ignores a certain percentage of enemy defense.
Fantastic! Another layer of complexity. Just what I needed. Being able to explain complex topics is what you excel at, Owlbert.
That's right! When using her skill, Black Swan deals wind damage based on her attack to the target enemy and adjacent targets. There's also a chance to inflict each enemy with 1 stack of Arcana and a chance of reducing their defense for a set number of turns. After unlocking a specific trace, when Black Swan's skill hits an enemy suffering from bleed, burn, or shock debuffs, each one has a respective chance of inflicting an extra stack of Arcana on them.
Oh, look at her, the mastermind of odds, treating combat like a simple card trick. She's really awesome.
During exploration, when Black Swan uses her technique and enters combat, there's a chance that each single target will succumb to 1 stack of Arcana. Targets suffering from Arcana will be repeatedly judged to determine whether or not they'll be inflicted again. This is repeated until it fails. The chance of re-inflicting Arcana reduces with each application.
Needs to do a little fortune-telling before the fight, does she? Should we crown her the Queen of Foresight? Or just a buzzkill afraid of a little surprise?
Miss Sparkle, are you really a fan of Black Swan?
Fanatic, fan, same difference. However, when it comes to you, Owlbert, I'm a real admirer. I've watched every episode you've ever made.
There's a few episodes better left forgotten. But for the memo keeper, it's the memories that cause pain which are the most formidable weapons. When using her ultimate, Black Swan inflicts Epiphany upon all enemies for a set number of turns and deals wind damage to them based on her own attack. While inflicted with Epiphany, enemies take increased damage during their turns. Moreover, Enemies suffering from Arcana are deemed to be in a state of wind shear, bleed, burn, and shock as well. While Epiphany is in effect, Arcana stacks will not be reset after inflicting damage at the beginning of each turn. But there is a maximum limit to how often this effect can be triggered.
Note to self. Induce memory loss in self before next meeting with Black Swan.
Oh, seems like Miss Black Swan has run into trouble. Or perhaps she knew it was coming all along.
Ooh, fight! Fight!
We see Black Swan use her skill, effectively using her traces to ensnare the enemy with several stacks of Arcana, simultaneously weakening their defense. Her teammate launches an attack, inflicting a DOT debuff on the enemy.
Outnumbering them? You call that skill? Don't lose, Dream Jolt Troop!
But Black Swan appears unfazed by Miss Sparkle's comments and uses her ultimate right before the enemy's action, putting them into a state of epiphany. Ooh, looks like the Chief's trying to set an example for his underlings by launching a counterattack. Unaware that Black Swan's triggered Arcana on him, delivering a defense ignorant smackdown to them all. And thanks to Epiphany, Arcana stacks were not reset, allowing allies to capitalize with a follow-up attack. With enemies suffering damage over time, the stacks of Arcana keep rising higher and higher as a result of Black Swan's basic attacks. Finally, the burn, shock, and Arcana effects imposed on the enemy are triggered in succession, vanquishing yet again another enemy. All's well that ends well, and that's a wrap.
Boring. Yet again, it's the same old story of good versus evil. Unfollowed.
Just wondering, is there any sort of beef between you and Miss Black Swan?
Not really, it's just Miss Black Swan is always so composed. I can't help but want to see her trip over.
Owlbert, we've got an intruder in our midst. Looks like she's made her way towards the broadcasting room. You seen anything?
An intruder, you say? Why, not at all.
Huh? What happened to your voice?
Not familiar with the avian voice molting phases, huh? All right, I'm hanging up. That's it. It's over. It's a wrap. Oh, please. I'm too young for it to be over.